very interesting news that we are covering on how many billionaires are being created in India. So we're looking at the Hurun India Rich List, and for the first time we have more than 1,500 entrants on the list from India. So look at it in this perspective. That's an increase of 150% from 7 years ago. In fact, India's billionaire count crosses the triple century mark. There are 334 USD billionaires, 6 times since the list debuted 13 years ago. Now, more details on the list, and what's really interesting is also about how you are creating a billionaire in India once every 5 days in the last year. To speak more on the list, I'm joined now by Anas Rahman Junaid, Managing Director and Chief Researcher at Hurun India. Mr. Junaid, thank you so much for speaking with us here on NDTV. Let's start with what are the key highlights of the list this year?
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I think you covered some of the key highlights. In the context of Olympics, I would say that India has struck gold in terms of wealth creation. So, and that's particularly important because we do a comparison between the other global list of Hurun. For example, when we look at the number of billionaires in China, that's come down by 25% in the last year. But in India, there is an increase in the number of billionaires by almost 25%. And that's quite exciting from a wealth creation standpoint. So Hurun Rich List is all about creating celebrating the story of transparent wealth creators in the country. And from that context, the fact that there are more and more wealth creators are emerging from India is quite exciting. One interesting point that I wanted to highlight is when we put out the list about 12 years back, manufacturing was not the top 3. I think software and services was one of the top 3 wealth creating sectors in the country. Fast forward now, the top 3 by far are from the manufacturing sector. We also did a analysis of the wealth creation amongst the top 20 industries over the last 5 years. And we again noticed that out of the 20, at least 15, 16 are from the manufacturing sector, who's added more wealth from a CAGR perspective compared to services industry. So that shift is very evident, and people speak about India wanting to become manufacturing, government thrusting on that point, but all that is being in fact seen in the rich list. And if anything to go by, this is a good indication of how the companies are doing in India, how the value is being created in India. So that's quite exciting for my standpoint.
Absolutely, and you see it in the components of the top 10 list. In terms of the top 10, Mr. Junaid, what are the key observations that you've made this year and the big changes?
I think one big change is Mr. Gautam Adani is back number 1 after what happened a couple of years back in terms of Hindenburg allegations and so on. I think I've written my press release also, he's risen back like a phoenix. By almost all of his company has companies have done very well, and he's taken the number 1 spot, and that's quite exciting in terms of how Indian entrepreneurs are more and more self-made entrepreneurs are creating super valuable enterprises from a top 10 standpoint. And you also see you also see the number 2 is Mr. Mukesh Ambani, and number 3 is Shiv Nadar of HCL, who has also had a great year when you compare to his peers and maybe in the software sector. But then the top 10 is interesting, but I think what is more exciting for me is when you go deeper into the list, the overall statistics from a list perspective that is the most exciting part. Even if you look at top 10, to enter top 10, if it was 10 years back, to enter top 10, you had to have a wealth of about 44,000 crores. Now, fast forward 10 years later, it is about 1,60,000 crores. So that number has gone up by 4 times. So 5 years back, it was 72,000 crores. So from a top 10 standpoint, it is getting even more difficult to enter the top 10 wealth creators in the country.
Yeah, that's definitely one interesting aspect that you've talked about. And the other one, Mr. Junaid, is of course the presence of Bollywood names. King Khan, Shah Rukh Khan has made it to the list for the first time.
Correct. Yeah, I think India is it's a very evident fact that we Indians are very glued on to Bollywood and cricket. I think Mr. Shah Rukh Khan has entered the list based on his holdings in the sports teams and his entertainment company. So that's quite exciting, and you would see a lot more of wealth creation happening from an entertainment lifestyle. Um, More than Mr. Shah Rukh Khan entering the list, I think what is more exciting is that IPL is becoming super valuable. A lot more sports owners coming in. Sports as an industry is gaining traction. So all this is a good indication that look, there is not just traditional businesses and stock market that you can make wealth from. There is also other avenues like investing in an amazing sports team and growing it and so on to create wealth from. So that is what we are trying to say through Mr. Shah Rukh Khan's entry.
It's not just that, and you're right, India might be Bollywood obsessed, but we're also seeing the trend of people in the film industry becoming very astute business persons, and that's
Correct.
visible in your list, right? Juhi Chawla and family
Correct.
are there, Hrithik Roshan is there,
Correct.
Karan
Correct.
Johar is there, Mr. Bachchan
Correct.
is there. So is that
Correct.
relatively a newer trend that you've been seeing over the last few years?
I think it's more of a formalization of how the value is being created compared to what it was 10, 15 years back. You having a proper structure in place in terms of how do you capture value in new businesses. You having a structure in place in terms of how your entertainment business is managed. You having more aware and understanding the influence that one might have in terms of creating more brands that could reach to consumers. So that is thanks to all the social media and awareness and Instagram and all that. So that's really played a huge role in some of these companies being created. And I wouldn't be surprised in next 2 to 3 years time, you'll see a lot more entrants from actors turned entrepreneurs or investors getting into the list.
Okay, let's talk about the participation of women in the list. And, you know, you have a separate sort of heading for women entrepreneurs, or actually women who've made it to the list. What are, the key trends that you've observed there?
I think self-made entrepreneurship from an Indian women context, I think we are definitely growing. When we started the Hurun India Rich List in 2012, the number of self-made women entrepreneurs in the list was about 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Now it's almost gone up to 50 plus. So that number is definitely increasing. So that's one trend. And one important trend that I would want to highlight in terms of more and more women participating or being part of the top wealth creation or driving the narrative of wealth creation as one statistics, which is basically almost 65% of the Hurun India Rich List are age 60 and above. And that number, if you add the total wealth of all those individuals, that comes to about 1.5 trillion USD, which is almost half of India's GDP. And this wealth is going to witness an intergenerational wealth transfer over the next 10, 15 years. So you would see a lot more next generation entrepreneurs from the families, women especially, would also take a front seat in driving the respective companies. So from a women wealth creation standpoint, of course, there'll be a lot of first generation entrepreneurs. There'll also be a lot of next generation wealth creators from the respective families who would enter the list in future.
Some of the names that I'm seeing on the top 10 self-made women in 2024, Radha Vembu, Falguni Nair and family, Jayashree Ullal of Arista Networks, Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, Neha Narkhede and family, Juhi Chawla, Indra Nui, Devita Saraf, Kavita Subramaniam. So, a lot of interesting trends coming in there as well. Even on the youngest list, and I found this key to see, look at the age group of those who are making it to your 2024 India Rich List in the youngest category. I mean, you have Zepto, the Zepto duo, of course, Aditya and Kevalya. But you have Rohan Gupta and family, you have Ritesh Agarwal. And that's, I think, a very interesting story as well.
Yeah, it's so I also that this really shows the energy of new age wealth creation in the country. So when we launched the 2012 Rich List, the youngest in the list was 37 years old. Right now, the youngest is 21. And if you look at the number of wealth creators who were born after the 90s, that number is around 10 to 15. So that clearly shows age is no bar in terms of when it comes to creating amazing companies and ventures in India, because of the ecosystem, internet penetration, access to capital, and so on. So it's exciting. I think age is definitely. I think we've kind of traveled back in time when it comes. I mean, we've saved a lot of age advantage because of all these technology and other advancements that we have in the country right now. So, of course, the youngest now is possibly 16 years younger than what it was 10 years back.
Just overall, the view, Mr. Junaid, on what this is telling us about wealth creation in India. And of course, your biggest names are still from very well-known families and families who've been in business for generations, but you're seeing so many new entrants also break through. Would that be a very key trend that you're noticing?
Absolutely, very much. I think the start. Let me tell you the demographics of the new entrants. That's very important as well. Of course, India has been home to some of the most successful family businesses in the world. We also have a lot of amazing first generation entrepreneurs who started mainly from tech, also there in India. But if you look at the next sort of wave of wealth creation, I really think is, of course, going to come from the next gen set of entrepreneurs. Secondly, professionals are going to play a huge role when this intergenerational wealth transfer happens, when more and more families professionalize running their businesses. You would see a lot more next gen entrepreneurs taking the front seat. Sorry, professionals taking the front seat. Then one interesting category is the capital providers, right? I think you have last year Manish Kejriwal entered the list for the first time. He was more from the PE side, but this year you have an angel investor debuting this. Anand Chandrasekharan entered the list for the first time, and his wealth has primarily come from investing in startups over the years. So new entrants are going to come from professionals, next gen, new age startup entrepreneurs, investors, and so that you'd see India firing from all cylinders in times to come.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Junaid, for speaking with us, the Managing Director and Chief Researcher at Hurun India, talking about some of the highlights of the list. We'll just recap for you the top 10 list this year, and a lot of key changes over there, especially in the number 1 and the number 2 spot is, of course, the big takeaway. But even beyond that, the kind of trends that you're seeing in entrance of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan comes in for the first time, self-made women entrepreneurs, youngsters making it to the list, those from capital markets going up the ladder, is all very, very interesting trends that we are seeing this time round.